lot of nuts!
Welcome back, hyenas. October 1st, it is officially spooky season, and you know what that means. Brand new random crap in your mailbox. Check out these printed postcards of the SumitoMedia with a hyena behind me. If you would like one of these signed by yours truly, delivered to you, they're free to anybody on the Patreon. Make sure you have an address added to your account on Patreon. If you sign up to the Patreon by October 15th, around the middle of the month, I will make sure that one of these gets to you by Halloween so that you could stick it on your fridge or burn it in a fire. Once you get it, it's up to you. I thank you in advance. We got a couple stories to cover today. The main one is MrBeast is under fire, pun intended. Currently, people are up in arms about MrBeast's newest video, and this is probably something that you have heard quite a few times now, ever since MrBeast has been starting to get canceled, or however you open to more criticism because of the content that he puts out on YouTube. People have been ever so slightly more critical about the sorts of videos that he puts together, whether it be the exploitation of people for monetary gain or putting people on a pedestal in order to do extreme stunts. His latest video, titled "Would You Risk Dying for $500,000," is currently sitting at almost 60 million views over the course of just the last 4 days. And to cut the story short, basically the entire concept of this 25-minute long video is supposedly he takes a contestant, of which he gets many a times for his game show of a YouTube channel, and puts them in a burning house, sets the place on fire, and the house is filled with $500,000 cash. And the idea is, how many times is the seemingly random individual willing to risk burning alive in order to grab as much cash as possible? How many times is he willing to literally run into a burning building to come out with some amount of cash? On paper, it's kind of crazy. Kind of a fire idea for a video, if I do say so myself.
This man is literally in a burning building.
Oh, there's fire around the door.
The entire room is on fire.
Oh my gosh, this is the craziest thing we've ever filmed.
And behind him is $500,000, which he could win if he completes 7 death traps. Out of there! Out of here! Come on!
In case you're curious who this gentleman is, he's actually a professional stuntman, but we are going to push him to the max in this video.
So you probably caught there at the end that MrBeast states that this is a professional stuntman that they have hired. According to some of the community notes on Twitter, additional context after the video, MrBeast clarified that the person in the video clip was a professional stuntman and the fires were controlled by a kill switch and the smoke was extracted by a ventilation system. Basically, everybody was under the impression that this was absolutely too crazy, too ludicrous, too dangerous of a stunt for an amateur YouTuber to put together. Obviously, this is all harping back to the criticism that MrBeast received when putting together the Beast Games, his big production MrBeast style game show alongside Amazon that streamed on Amazon Prime as opposed to YouTube, in which there were a number of publications and articles put out about the quality of living and the overall production quality, which resulted in people sleeping near outhouses and porta potties not being cleaned, and general unprofessionalism on the stage of what is effectively like a giant movie set. And so people are not necessarily under the impression that MrBeast is this absolute perfect professional, keeps everything in mind sort of individual. So when you put in an individual in a burning house, a lot of people were under the impression that, what if this guy didn't make it out alive, right? What if this guy was seriously burned or injured? Did MrBeast even factor in an escape plan should this individual quit in the midst of accomplishing 7 death games, as he calls it in the video? Or did MrBeast even factor in that most people who die in a house fire don't actually die from being burned alive, but rather succumb to smoke inhalation? The sheer volume of burning material entering your lungs is what does in a large amount of people in a traditional house fire out in the wild, right? Was he factoring all of this in? What the fuck is wrong with MrBeast? Here's a tweet that MrBeast posted in response to this clip from his video going viral on Twitter. The clip itself is titled, "MrBeast had a contestant trapped inside a burning house to win $500,000 in his new video with no additional contest." MrBeast says, "This blew up, comma, if you're curious, Obviously, we had ventilation for the smoke and a kill switch to cut off the fires. We had professionals test this extensively, and the guy in the video, as stated, is a professional stuntman. I take safety more serious than you could ever imagine. That's all great and everything, but it doesn't stop people from running with the idea that MrBeast was willing to kill a guy in order to get many views on his video. Some of the quote retweets that I find funny are, MrBeast, okay dude, that's enough. You have $450,000. Please get out of the house. My greedy ass about to change the trajectory of MrBeast's life. And then it's a gif of a dude just burning in a fire. The next one, I'd stay in the building and burn to death to change the trajectory of MrBeast's life forever. MrBeast kills a man for the sheer thrill of taking another life. These guys are crazy. The thing that I find really interesting about this is like, it's twofold, right? On one hand, it's like, are we succumbing back, regressing back to the days of YouTube just being as clickbaity as possible? Obviously, all of MrBeast's videos are designed to be title and thumbnail first. Like, yes, he does throw hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars at producing these videos to be interesting to watch all the way through. This guy is a professional when it comes to robbing you of your ability to watch anything else once you've been forced to click because of that crazy title and thumbnail. But are you willing to risk your life for $500,000 as the title and the thumbnail with him burning alive in the video thumbnail, right? Contrasted with the numerous amounts of safety measures. Truly, this individual, a professional stuntman who is familiar. First of all, the guy starts tied up, blindfolded in a chair, surrounded by flames with the money behind him. So he already has to like Houdini himself out of this situation. The video doesn't open with telling you that he's a stuntman. It tries to trick you into thinking that this is just some schmuck that he grabbed out of his subscriber base, as is the case with many of his other videos. It wants you to think there is an air of true danger going on in the video, but not so much so, because then later he tells you that there is in fact a stuntman performing this, a professional, somebody who's familiar with the situation. And then on Twitter goes on to state, hey, we had ventilation systems, kill switches, scientists testing the fire. It wasn't even real fire. We used CGI. The house wasn't even real. We did this whole thing in Unreal Engine. The guy wasn't even real. He was a mannequin that we brought to life like Pinocchio in that one story. Like, it all just falls apart to the point where it's like, okay, fine, we didn't even really shoot a video. We just drew this up with an animation company. Like, it strips away so much of what started as, will you die for $500,000, that it almost ceases to even be entertaining once you know the behind the scenes. But that's what clickbait is, right? MrBeast has always said that the idea behind his videos is that he thinks up the most clickbait title possible and then tries to make it reality so that it's not actually clickbait. But where does that line get drawn, right? At what point is he just effectively clickbaiting you because he isn't actually doing the thing that he thinks you clicked on, right? That line's different for different people. For a lot of people, this is a video with fire, some amount of danger. It is a dude running around with live flames trying to grab as much money as he can while doing a bunch of games. I mean, that's kind of what you clicked for, even if his life wasn't ever actually in danger, as the title might have led you to believe. Is it clickbait? The second issue that I have with this is like, surely this video should have been demonetized, right? If this wasn't MrBeast, and the title was, would you risk your life for $500,000, with a dude in a house that was set on fire and the entire thing was filming him running around a burning building, right? If this wasn't MrBeast and was any other creator that wasn't the golden boy for the company, as it were, this video wouldn't have been monetized. They wouldn't run ads on it. This thing would have resulted in thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars wasted because some automated bot would have demonetized it, claiming that it was, you know, bodily harm or danger to human life, something that wasn't safe enough for them to have ads on it. But because it's MrBeast, it's totally okay. If you guys remember, the only video of this that I was able to find was from Omni on YouTube. Back in 2020, Moist Critical posted a video of him reacting to a road rage incident where the video got demonetized by a bot. And if you take a look at the clips from the road rage incident, it's a bunch of people dressed up like SpongeBob and like characters. Like, it's a whole staged thing that was designed to be a viral clip, and Moist Critical ended up having his video demonetized because he was reacting to this quote-unquote road rage incident. The claim that he got from YouTube was evidently because it was, what does it say? It is violent or graphic content. Dude had a video that probably had millions of views, have all the money and ads stripped away from it because a random robot thought that it was real, thought that somebody might have gotten hurt in a situation where there was no fake blood, no injury, no violence or anything. It was all a big meme. And Moist Critical got his video demonetized over it. He tried to refute this and was instantly denied, as is every claim ever handled by YouTube, because it's handled by robots. He ended up dragging Markiplier into this by saying that Markiplier made a video laughing about the same fake road rage incident. When is he getting a strike? Evidently, this exact same video that on Charlie's channel was deemed to be too violent, too graphic to have ads run on it, ran on Markiplier's channel just fine. The story ends with Markiplier responding to this and then saying at YouTube, hey, fair is fair at YouTube, where's my strike? Before following up with the fact that it turns out that YouTube did in fact remove the video or struck it down from Markiplier's channel as well, before ultimately doubling back, having a human finally review it and go, oh, this was a meme, sorry for the confusion, fellas, and then reinstated monetization. Not before removing it from Charlie, by the way. It's not like he got his money back. The first million or so views that video got had no ads run on it. It's not the end of the world with Moist Critical because he just reacts unedited. It's not like it took a ton of time from him. But hey, God forbid a staged meme road rage incident that did not even appear to have any sort of violence or any sort of bodily harm in it gets demonetized just to be safe. And there's nothing that this 10 million subscribers on Charlie's channel can do nothing about it to reach out to YouTube in order to make sure that he gets paid for reacting to it or whatever. But MrBeast can set a guy on fucking fire, 60 million views, and that guy doesn't lose a dime. I feel like the rules are being bent here a little bit. I find it frustrating, and I'm sure you guys do too, the absolute hoops that some YouTubers need to jump through in order to earn their nickels from YouTube when they put all this work into their videos. How many content creators have you watched that have had to blur out or, you know, summarize horrific books or movies, people who do horror genre, true crime or whatever? How many times have you heard the term unalive in order to avoid saying the word? How many people have not been able to say COVID and have had to say, you know, the panini instead of pandemic or the virus instead of COVID or whatever? How many people have had to censor themselves in order to dodge the arrows to the knees that are YouTube censorship bots just scrubbing your video for any word that might be indicative of your video being a little bit too violent or graphic in order to have ads run on it? How many people need to do? Basically everybody. Basically everybody takes those safety measures in order to not accidentally trigger one of these bots from removing them making any money from these projects that they work on. Meanwhile, I promise you it's not like MrBeast had all these safety guidelines in place, had a professional stuntman, put together a dossier, and then submitted it to YouTube to be like, hey, this is all fake, don't worry about it. I think YouTube just gives them a green light. If he had burned a guy alive and then staged it like a video, I promise that video would have fucking ads on it because MrBeast is untouchable. And that's a little bit cringe. At the end of the day, obviously, MrBeast didn't do anything wrong. However, it's sort of the guys around skirting the guidelines of YouTube where it's like, the precedent has to be set in a manner where it makes sense for everybody, I imagine. I mean, it's not like MrBeast doesn't need to play by the same rules as any smaller YouTuber. The rules should be even more strict on somebody whose videos are going to be the front page of anybody and everybody who has ever clicked on a MrBeast video or who hasn't. MrBeast is currently being offered as entertainment On Delta Airlines, with a partnership of YouTube Premium, people are going to have ad-free viewing of certain YouTube videos, one of which being MrBeast, which means this guy is currently going to be the face of the company for people who are in flights watching YouTube videos. This is what's representing YouTube when you're 9,000 feet in the air. Surely you should make sure that he has to abide by the same guidelines as everybody else, right? And stop demonetizing my videos. That's basically my point. Stop it, YouTube. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Is this okay, or should we burn MrBeast alive? Anyway, update to the lower view situation that was going on YouTube. On a video by TechLinked titled "YouTube Wasn't Lying," it turns out they have actually managed to put together what it is that has been causing this lower viewership on YouTube. And much to the surprise of every idiot commenter who was like, "Spiffling Brit is never wrong. Surely he said he talked to somebody at YouTube. Surely he knows best. It's not like he could ever misinterpret anything." It turns out there was actually an issue with the views. According to this video by TechLinked, the reason that everybody has been seeing lower viewership, specifically on desktop, much to what we all sort of pieced together as more and more information came together, thanks to Josh Strife Hayes and Linus and everybody else who made videos talking about the situation. The views are down. Period. Views are down across YouTube, and it's not because YouTube changed anything. It's actually because of ad blockers. According to this video, most major ad blockers that people download on YouTube to use on Google Chrome and what have you all reference the same plugins or packages. They all get the list of ads to block from the same major source, and then they interpret it in different ways. And one of the plugins that was introduced around that time, September 10th or whenever it was something that interfered with the way that YouTube counted views. Basically, if you had this ad block, any major ad blocker installed that used this plugin, it made it so that when you watched videos on YouTube, YouTube was unable to register your view as a view. So even though you clicked on the video and you watched the video, because of the way the ad blocker was blocking some aspect of the web page, YouTube didn't count it. And that explains literally everything. It explains why views were going down, period. It explains why, upon further inspection, views were only going down for desktop users, because most people don't use an ad blocker on their phone. It's much more common on desktop. And it explains why, despite the viewership being down, it didn't seem to affect anybody's income. Everybody's money was about the same, despite the fact that their views were down 20-30%. It's because it was only affecting users who had AdBlock installed. And if you have AdBlock installed, you don't see ads. Therefore, your view doesn't actually turn into money for freemium users on YouTube. And it explains everything, which is weird. Because typically when we see major changes to viewership, or really any major change to YouTube whatsoever, it's because YouTube did something different. And everybody was under the impression at first that YouTube must have changed the way that a view is counted. Does it only count the view if you watch the video for more than 10 seconds? Or if it was suggested versus search, does it not count views to channels that you weren't subscribed to? Completely in the dark up until we realized that it turns out YouTube actually did nothing. They were telling the truth when they said that they had nothing to do with any changes to their algorithm. Restricted mode was a big red herring that drew everybody's attention away. But this now does sort of put the onus on ad blockers. Now, first and foremost, I am pro ad blocker. I think YouTube ads are incredibly intrusive, whether you pay for premium or not. The website is basically unviewable if you're not blocking ads. For that reason, I pay for Twitch Turbo, I pay for YouTube Premium. I pay that money every month because in watching, 8 hours of YouTube and Twitch every single day, the ads would get ridiculous, and so I pay to block them. If you can't pay to block them, by all means use an ad blocker. Like, I believe the website is basically unusable if you're sitting through 30 advertisements to watch a couple hours of YouTube. That's crazy. But ad blockers are not perfect. In this way, they have affected a tremendous amount of viewership. I know you want to look at this as nobody lost any money, but viewership being down 20-30% across the board for major channels is kind of a big deal. People who have sponsorships that are expecting them to get 10,000 views or 1 million views, to see that their last 10-20 videos are now, I don't know, 30% less, they can't crack 100,000 views, might affect people's contracts and sponsorships going forward and affect their ability to make money. Not just that, YouTube did not adjust the algorithm for the fact that people were getting lower viewerships, and so tech channels like Linus Tech Tips, whose viewers are a little bit more tech savvy, therefore more likely to have an ad blocker installed because they're a little bit more computer literate, feel a much bigger brunt of that impact of lower viewerships than somebody like MrBeast, whose entire audience is under the age of 6 months. They don't know how to install an ad blocker. They barely know how to walk. It explains why they click on all of his videos on an iPad, and those guys are completely unaffected. A bad thing that happened, but ad blockers are sort of this necessary evil in the current landscape of YouTube. How mad can you really be at the situation? YouTube has had like a multi-year long war with ad block users. They have tried to block ad block from running on the channel. They have blocked YouTube videos from playing if you have an ad blocker installed. Clearly, it affects YouTube quite a bit, because while it doesn't affect the money that people would make that had ad blockers anyway, if you look at it from the other perspective of if there were no ad blockers, obviously that would mean 20 to 30% more views, which would also bring in 20 to 30% more money, because those people would now be watching ads for YouTube and the people making YouTube videos. But again, in the current landscape of unskippable ads, weird mobile games, porn ads, not being able to skip, getting 10 ads in a row, that's a ridiculous ask, and everybody knows that you cannot, there is no environment where ad blockers do not exist. We would literally regress back to when pop-up ads were making it impossible to watch anything on the internet, and nobody wants that whatsoever either. So here we are. A relatively nice solution, at least we have an explanation for what happened. It hasn't been remedied, by the way. That's still going on. People who have ad blockers installed, at least to my knowledge at this point, are still not being counted as a view. And so every video that you see that's relatively popular amongst anything other than children or mobile is currently suffering a loss of viewerships that might be affecting their ability to have their videos recommended. I mean, think about it. If you upload a bit of a stinker video, like a channel update or thanks for 100,000 subs or big announcement for my channel, that doesn't get pushed out to everybody, won't get the same viewership because that video got less views. That's it. You can interpret it as, this isn't what your subscribers signed up for. This video wasn't as good as your other videos, therefore it didn't get suggested and spread out to more people clicking on it and watching it. But that's all interpreted by YouTube as just, this video got less views. If it gets less views, it must not be as interesting to your audience. We're not going to push it out to as many people. And that makes sense because it sort of naturally selects videos that are underperforming and then doesn't suggest them as much. But now there's an artificial third-party reason that certain videos are getting less viewerships, and so people are now getting less than less viewership because their videos aren't getting as many views because of the ad blocker thing, and then as a result aren't being suggested to as many new people because YouTube thinks that those videos are underperforming. The entire platform is kind of on fire. I wonder if MrBeast is going to make a video about it. Even though we have this explanation, I still think it's an incredibly sad thing that happened, because if you took the time to watch the WAN show, Linus Tech Tips' podcast with Luke, these guys were talking about moving forward with their channel as if they had to deal with lower viewership to the sum of like what their videos were doing 5 years ago. They were looking at it like, if this is the new normal for YouTube, if we have to adjust to getting 30% less viewership going forward, we're going to have to adjust maybe sponsors, maybe the way we do things, maybe we have to get even more clickbaity, maybe we have to get even more extravagant. Who's to say that this change to the climate of content creation on YouTube doesn't result in everybody having to do more yellow journalism, having to do clickier thumbnails? Maybe my next video is going to be setting 2 people in a burning building for $750,000, because fuck, if I don't, I'm going to have to deal with the same viewership that I had on my channel from years ago. And it sucks that that's something that happened, all because of a mistake that some programmer made when putting together the plugin for that ad block. It is so silly to me that something as big and as established as YouTube, a website that probably supports, I don't know, tens of thousands of full-time content creators, hundreds of thousands of people whose job is dependent on this thing, can completely be not nuked. It's not like everybody and their mom lost their job, but have such a huge effect based on a completely unrelated, separate third-party thing. Like, it really puts into perspective how fragile this ecosystem can be when everything is just being automated by robots and AI, and humans barely kind of understand what's going on. Also, what the fuck was the spiffling Brit smoking? Like, that video that he made talking about everybody's overreacting, none of this is real, it's just people going back to school and shit. I don't care that I'm not getting as many views. I'm in it for the love of the game. Are you okay? Like, what? I got so many comments of people being like, the spiffling Brit talked to YouTube. He says this is nothing. Therefore, you guys are overreacting. Obviously, it's just people going to school or people not watching as much YouTube. It's not. You were wrong. He was wrong. I expect an apology in the comments immediately. Thanks for making it to the end of another episode of the Spodcast. Remember to subscribe so you catch these updates in your inbox a couple times a week. Sorry for no video last week. I was playing 50 hours of Mega Bonk and I forgot to upload. I will catch you guys on the next one. Spisu.